Today I'm going to make 10 chord progressions that hit 10 different emotions. My goal is to hit every emotion from sad, happy, uplifting, and many, many more. So let's buckle in because I'm going to take you literally through a roller coaster of emotions. Let's make some chords. This first chord progression is uplifting, joyful, and euphoric. We're going to use the D sharp minor scale for this, and it plays the 5, 6, 7, and 1 chord in that scale. Let's add the 5th, and then let's add the 3rd. In their most basic form, they sound like this. Now, to extract all the sweet and joyful emotion out of these chords, I like to add 2 pedal notes. One on the 7th note of the scale, and then one on the 3rd note of the scale. I also like to take the thirds and put them up an octave. And we get this beautiful sound. And then for maximum emotion extraction, add a vocal.
Whatever you did, can you do it some more now? Swear you got me falling for you as a lady.
Right in the feels. That hit me right in the feels. This next progression is very deep and serious, and it's actually one of the most common chord progressions in music. This progression uses the B minor scale and uses the 6, 7, and 1 chord, and then it goes back to the 7. In their basic form, they sound like this. When I use these chords, I'm almost always going to put the thirds up an octave. Did you know that if you don't know how to revoice your chords to make them sound better, I added a new course to my EDM bootcamp program below called Music Theory for Producers, and it shows you how to do that. This is a very neutral chord progression. You can make this sound really major or really minor depending on what type of melody you use. So if we write a very simple melody that's rooted in the minor scale, we can make the emotion even more serious and deep. And what's fascinating about this progression is if you took this melody and rooted it in the major scale, the harmony we get is more happy and uplifting. 2 completely different moods, same chord progression. This next progression is tense and suspenseful. And here's the crazy thing. It only uses 1 chord. Yes, you could have a progression that only uses 1 chord. You can root this chord on any note. I'm going to use G. I'm going to make it really long. I'm going to make a G minor chord. And as always, make sure to pick a sound that matches the mood that you're going for. These type of progressions are so much fun because you could drop a bass down and create maximal emotion with a simple harmony. That is tense! This next progression is great for sad songs. We're going to step into the G minor scale and the 1, 7, 4, and then back up to the 6. In its basic form, they sound like this. But when I make chords, I need maximal extraction of the emotion. So I'm going to take the thirds of each chord and put it up an octave. And then I'm going to add a touch more sadness by adding a pedal tone on the tonic. I think I might start tearing up. This next progression is the perfect feel-good euphoric progression. If you ever want to make a feel-good track, just use these chords. We're going to step into the B minor scale and use the 6, 3, the 7, and then the 1. In their most basic form, they sound like this. But we need to extract maximal emotion out of these chords. So I'm going to take the third out of each chord and put it up an octave. Next, I'm going to add 2 pedal tones, one on the third, and then the next pedal tone 5 steps above that. And I'm going to add one more note that I know will sound good. These chords are the meaning of life. Real quick, I have to add drums to these. Enhance the chords. We just made these beautiful chords come to life. Here's a similar progression, but more of a touch of sadness and sorrow instead of just being overly joyful. I have a sad synth sound here. We're going to step into the G sharp minor scale, and I'm going to use the 6, 1, 7, and 5, and in their basic form, these chords sound like this. They actually sound pretty good in their basic form. Like, I would use them like that. But the other side of me would totally mess them up. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull these thirds up an octave. I love when the third note of the chord is on top of the chord. I'm also going to add a pedal tone on the third note of the scale. And then another pedal tone 5 steps above that. That is magic. This next progression is one I'd use in a pump-up song. It's got some nice aggression in it with a touch of darker tones. For this one, use a darker sounding synth. We're going to step into the G minor scale and then make the first chord on the 1. You're going to sustain this one for half of the 4-bar loop. Then you're going to go down to the 6 and then put the last chord on the 4. In basic form, they sound like this. Notice how this progression starts with a minor chord and then ends with a minor chord. It's a great way to get a really deep minor sound. As always, I'm going to take these thirds and put them up an octave. But I'm going to go one step farther and I'm going to take another synth sound and double that third note. Doubling any note of the chords will enhance that note. So if we play it back with some bass and drums, we get this sound. I even added this vocal here because making music is pretty cool.
Is there something I should know? 'Cause I don't know where you go.
I'm sorry, guy. I can't sing. I messed that up. Now for this next progression, we're going to use the same sound, but add a shade of happiness. So we're going to get like a happy, pumped up progression. This progression uses the G minor scale, and we're going to take the 1 chord and stretch it out halfway through the 4-bar loop. But instead of going down like last time, we're going to go up to the 3rd chord of the scale, and then back down to the 6th chord of the scale. And in basic form, we get this sound. But I like to mess things up. These chords were weird. I actually took the 3rd out of these. I took another synth sound and doubled the 5th. Doubled or layered, whatever you want to call it. I added some bass, drums, that same vocal from last time, and then we get this sound.
Is there something I should know? 'Cause I don't know where you go. When you don't pick up the phone, yeah. Is there something I should know?
Wasn't that electric? Like, I wish it was a song that I can play right now and go to the gym and jam to. This next progression is mega relaxed and chill. This one's almost all about the sound we use, because with chill songs you can virtually use any progression just as long as the sound is super deep and chill. I have this nice soft piano. I'm going to use the C minor scale for this one. We're going to start on the 6, go up to the 1, and then down to the 7 chord. We're going to stretch this 7 chord and back on the 1. In basic form, these chords sound like this. But I'm going to revoice them and make them sound good. But keep in mind, getting that chill, relaxed sound has a lot to do with the atmosphere and the sounds you're using. So I added this mystic drone that's hitting the tonic of the scale. And when it harmonizes with the chord progression, it sounds like this. Isn't that beautiful? I actually took these chords and converted them to a synth to see if I could make that same chill vibe using a synth and a little drum beat. Sounds like this. This final chord progression is my all-time favorite chord progression. The unique part about this progression is that it is only major chords. So there's no minor chords in the whole thing. That means the resulting sound can't get much more cheerful. Here we go. This progression uses a major scale and it uses the 4 chord, the 5, and it goes down to the 1. All major chords. So in basic form, it sounds like this. But as always, I love to extract every ounce of happiness out of these chords. And the way I do it with these is with a pedal tone on the tonic. I like to get rid of the 3rd and the 5th. And I'll take the bass notes and put them up an octave. And then I grab this pedal tone, double it, and then we get this sound. But it doesn't stop there. This is one of the prettiest progressions to do weird things with. So I went and added this weird effect called Portal, and I got this sound. I recorded that weird effect, chopped it up, and I did this. I added these mystical vocals. And then I dropped a sick beat and a nice big bass line. It doesn't get better than the 4-5-1 in the major scale. That's a video. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Check out my 6-week music production course below, and I'll see you in the next video.